Hey everyone, it's that Spidey fan here, back with another video. Uh, yes, I am in an airport right now, filming a video. Uh, so yeah, I'm right now waiting for my next flight, and I'm gonna be filming. Like, why would I just randomly be filming in an airport? Is this like an important video? Because it actually is. It's an important video. I'm gonna be doing a review on my friend Ethan's Not So Spider-Man fan film, C Festy Productions. If you saw my recent YouTube short, you know that I talked about Not So Spider-Man. So go check that out to get more information about this. So yeah, his film came out uh, today at the time of making this video. It could be different for you guys. So I'm just gonna be doing a review. Cause yeah, so, starting off with the characters. Okay, before I get on, this is gonna be a spoiler review. Yeah, so if you want to watch the movie, but you want to watch this review, I recommend you watch the movie first before watching this review. Okay, I don't want you guys to get spoilers. So, okay, now getting back to what I was talking about. Starting with the characters. Characters are amazing. They are really well developed. I feel like So let's start off with Peter Parker, non Spider-Man, played by Ethan, my friend. So, yeah, he did really good as Peter Parker. If I were to say what Peter Parker he reminds me of, he reminds me somewhat of Tobey's Spider-Man. You know, the type that's like, when it's serious time, he gets serious, and then when it's like, fighting, he can like sometimes make jokes in the middle, like kind of like in Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man 3, like when he's fighting Sandman in Spider-Man 3, he's cracking up jokes all the time. It also reminds me of Andrew Garfield at the same time. So those are two good Spider-Man. So that just shows that Don Spider-Man is really good. That's when you know it's good. So another character, the Chameleon, Dimitri. We all know the Chameleon is the villain. So he's the main villain of this film. I think Chameleon is one of the best villains. Mostly because he's the main villain. Of course, he's gonna be the best. But what I mean is, there's been a lot of films, which is where the main villain is not as good as you expect. But this one, the Chameleon, I think he was really really well done by Ethan. Ethan wrote him in such a way that you can really feel for him. You can really feel like his motives and why he's doing this. And even in the ending scene when Kraven dies and he's like crying, I think that scene was really cool. And also finding out that Kraven is dead. So yeah, I think Chameleon did was really well. Now I'm not going to talk about all the villains because I think there's like freaking like 8 villains or something in this movie. So I'm going to talk about the main three. Then we got Kraven. Now, Kraven was villain, I'd say, that is also well done. Because he's like second main. He's like the first villain you get introduced to. So, yeah, his motives are already explained. So basically, he has a wrestling match. He has a wrestling arena that he owns. And basically, he picks out good fighters and they have to fight just random strangers. Obviously, Spider-Man attends it, beats up his fighter. And now Kraven's like, this guy's pretty good, I want him on my team. So that's basically Kraven's motives, which in my opinion, that's really, really good. We've seen the Spider-Man film with that type of like premise of, they like the superhero, they like his powers, and then they want to exploit it. Which is why I think they added in Ben Reilly. Yeah, Ben Reilly is also in this. He's basically just the evil Peter Parker. But I'm not gonna get into that. So, and Kraven, whoever played it, I forgot his name, but he did a really good job, with the accent and the acting, Although I feel like he could have worked on the suit a little bit more to match him more with Kraven. It's just some guy in a hoodie, which obviously he has the little rod that he always spear, but that's the main thing. That's the only thing from Kraven. So I feel like he could have worked on them a little bit more. But obviously, Ethan, there's room for improvement, and don't take the hate too much. So, yeah. Then now we got the Green Goblin. The Green Goblin's an interesting villain because he's not really that big, in my opinion. I was talking to Ethan the other day in Discord, and I was telling him that I feel like you should have expanded more on Harry, because Harry, he kind of felt like a villain that was just there and then just for the sake of being there, kind of like Ben Riley. They did not show Ben Riley, or did not. They showed him in one scene, and the next thing you know, he's already fighting. Same thing for Harry, who's Green Goblin. Although for this time, Green Goblin, Harry, has a little bit more development. He's working at Oscorp. He's the owner. He's the son's owner, and obviously, Craven finds him and wants him to build all this stuff. He thinks he's a worthy opponent against Spider-Man. And actually, he does have something against Peter. Chameleon tricks him into saying that, he's gonna kill Gwen, which is like Harry's love interest. So that's why, Harry wants to kill him. Now, so that's the Green Goblin. Ben Riley also. I already talked about him a little bit. He wasn't that much of a villain. He just showed up in one scene, and then the next thing he's already fighting Spider-Man. I feel like he could have expanded more with Ben Riley, maybe expanding the movie, because the movie is 50 minutes. I feel like he could have maybe expanded it to 1 hour, maybe, just to get all those expansion of characters, development more. So that's it for characters. Yeah. Now, next up is the story writing. I think the story was really well done. Obviously, we've seen Peter's origin story way too many times in many fan films and movies. So I think it was a really good call for Ethan to just skip through that origin story, like a flashback. Kind of like what I'm doing with the Heroic Spider-Man, doing a flashback. So and I also think that it was cool that Ethan actually made his own homemade suit. He didn't order it off eBay or something like that. He actually made it with like example, the goggles. He bought it off, and after he made the mask and all that stuff. I think it was really cool that he did that. It really captures what a high school or a teenage student would do, which is what I really liked about that. Yeah, now back to storyline. Obviously the movie starts off well. We start off with Peter at the wrestling match. Obviously he wins. Then we go back to Uncle Ben, who's shot, and he gives the great power comes great responsibility, which I think really fit well, because what happens is Peter says that he was in a wrestling match and he won, he got money, and Uncle Ben's you shouldn't be using your gifts or powers for just for money, because with great power there must also come great responsibility. You are responsible for what you're doing. You had the great power, it's gonna come great responsibility too. So I think that really worked well. I praised Ethan for that, because the one is Spider-Man 1. Okay, I think that one's really well. For Spider-Man No Way Home, I kind of didn't really understand who the great power. I mean, I kind of understood it, but I feel like for Ethan's one, it really worked well. So then, there's a note that's left on Uncle Ben's body saying, "Let's have a rematch." Who else could it be that wrote that and killed him? Obviously, the guy that Peter fought in the wrestling match. But obviously, it's later found out that it was actually Chameleon who backstabbed his friend. After Chameleon shoots him and he dies, and Peter, he finds out that there's something bigger going on in the situation. So yeah, that's what it is. Obviously, Peter, he then vows to, protect the city and all that stuff. He starts, this little montage of him creating his suit. After, he fights the Shocker, because obviously Chameleon and Craven, they have a plan to, to capture the Spider-Man and put him on his team. So obviously they choose the Shocker, and obviously Peter is too good for the Shocker, and actually for way too many villains. And obviously, that's the main premise of the story. Obviously, I think the story is really well written. can't wait for the heroic for Non-Stop Spider-Man 2 and his future projects. So that's it for story writing. Now, also another thing was the movie itself. I feel like the humor and action were really, really there. I found myself actually laughing at jokes in this movie, which is something surprising because I don't really see not that much fan films, actually going out of their way to do humor that actually makes me laugh. And the action was incredible. The effects, the effects, they're not up to date, but you gotta remember, this is a fan film. This is not like a blockbuster movie with the best effects. And honestly, Ethan worked well with his resources and what he had, so I really think that was a really good call from him also. So I think that's really good. Now, that's it for my review of the Non-Stop Spider-Man. I recommend checking it out in the description. It'll be in the description. No, the link to the movie will be in the description. I don't know what I said. So yeah, go check it out. Just show some love. Comment something nice. Like the video. Subscribe to maybe Cinefesty Productions. They have a lot of projects coming up soon. Just go support Ethan. He worked so hard on this movie, and I really think that he's gonna do well in the future. So, alright, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.